That's it. And I'm not trust, and I'm not deliver this message. Good evening. I'm your host, the intellectual Lord Benjamin Manhattan, and this is Supreme American TV. And tonight I'm going to be discussing why are black men still being targeted by police when the police, are under attack by white males? Why is that taking place? We're going to discuss that tonight. But I was on TikTok and I did it live the other day, and it went pretty well. And I would like that my people at TikTok would come over and watch the cast and everything. You know, yeah. I'm I'm not. Let me tell you something. I don't advocate for law enforcement to be getting shot. I don't advocate for law enforcement to be getting attacked. We need law enforcement. Yes, we do. We definitely need law enforcement. We need law enforcement that are going to do the job and perform it based on fairness, based on what the law is, and not show favoritism toward other people. Because see, this is what happens when you show favoritism toward other people. This is what happens when you sit up here and you act like certain people are not a threat, certain people are not violent, certain people are not committing crimes. The Charlie Kirk effect. I call it that because Charlie Kirk, he ignored, like I said, that violent white subculture, that violent white subculture that is now reaching back toward white people who protected this subculture. It is now reaching back into law enforcement. It is reaching back onto college campuses and public places where shootings are taking place, where lawlessness and disorderly conduct are allowed to take place. Yet these people, these racists in law enforcement are still targeting black men. They still claim black men are the problem. They still claiming that, I had to shoot him in the back, or I had to shoot an old woman and whatnot who was having an episode. I had to shoot them and whatnot. Whereas they getting shot, they will allow themselves to get shot, stabbed, and everything else by other races of people, particularly white. And I'm not saying all white people, but particularly white. They're allowing themselves to get shot, stabbed, and put themselves in harm's way, even allowing themselves to get killed so that they don't have to arrest certain people, so that they don't want to kill certain people. That it has to literally be, and even past that, it has to literally be to the point where their lives are in danger to whereas they're going to pull a pistol and start defending themselves. But with a so-called black man, it's guns out already. With a so-called black man or black woman, they get the worst treatment. They get beat, they get tased for asking questions, they get pulled out of cars. You got a 10-year-old young boy, I think this was in Florida. 10-year-old young so-called black boy gets pulled over by the police for reckless driving. He's on a bike at 10 years old, and they put handcuffs on the 10-year-old and took him away in the car. This is a child. This is what they got time to do in Florida. They're arresting 10-year-olds. And within the last couple of weeks, been seeing nothing but a lot of degeneracy, been seeing nothing but a lot of chaos and confusion. Shout out to Taylor House Publishing, for showing these stories, because he stays on the watch for these stories. Shout out to Taylor House Publishing, the brother. I think he's from the Carolinas, but he doesn't show it. Those of you, if you're not subscribed to Taylor House Publishing, subscribe to Taylor House Publishing. That brother does an excellent job reporting these stories that the news doesn't want to cover. The news doesn't want to cover these stories. The news, like local news, but you're not going to see. You're not going to see this on the nightly news. Now, if the faces were darker and the hair more thicker, woollier, then you would see this all on the nightly news. Then you would see the president talking about, we got to get tougher on crime. What happened to these people, the criminals? These people are inherently violent. These people will never change. What people was Donald Trump talking about? Was he talking about his own people? Because in the last, this is not even a whole month. In the last month, 3 weeks to a month, I'm just only going by the minimum 6 high-profile shootings of law enforcement by white males. White man kills Kansas City police officer responding to a domestic violence dispute. White man shoots a Vermont police officer twice in the chest with a shotgun. White man kills California police officer serving a warrant. All right, this is all within, hold on, I'm not finished yet. Minnesota white man meth dealer shoots 5 police. Chandler, Arizona man shoots police and is taken alive. He had a hostage. White man kills 2 police officers in Utah, and there's more. I went all off of the Taylor House Publishing page. He got a whole lot, so check that out. Check out his page. Subscribe. I'm definitely a subscriber of Taylor House Publishing. Why? Because it is about time. It is about time that our people stop being demonized and criminalized. When I say our people, I mean, well, I'm not. Let me say it like this. I think that the law should be applied equally to everybody. I'm not against people who are criminals going to jail, getting shot by police, tased by police if necessary, but don't pick and choose who you shoot and tase and harm just because you have a racist and bias approach to these situations. When you approach black people totally different from how you approach white people. I'm talking about the racists in law enforcement. Again, this is not a blanketed thing for all law enforcement because you got good police out there. I'm not going to lie and say. Remember, I said there's never 100% of anything. You got police who are really trying to do their job. They're really trying to come home. They really want to have family. They're trying to take care of their family. So again, shout out to them. Those who are really applying police procedure to everybody equally, if that's possible, evenly, I'll say, evenly. But why black men? Because I think it's a smokescreen. Why so-called black men are being targeted? And again, certain you got black crime, you got white crime, you got crime all over. But the so-called black crime is always signal boosted, always pushed out to the mass media. Yet these are major shootings that are taking place in and around America, and nobody's saying nothing about it. You mean so even when I Googled and typed in this stuff, it was kind of hard to find it. When I Googled and typed it in, who had it up there? Taylor House Publishing. So they're not even trying to really, when you Google this, they're really being I'm talking about the people at Google, they're really being shady about covering this type of stuff. They really being shady. All right. Don't say, it's the police, they're trying to do what they do, and whatever the case may be. Yeah. But they targeting black men. They're targeting black men while allowing white men to shoot them, stab them, attack them, and they taking them alive. They taking them alive. Now, again, a criminal is a criminal to me. I don't care what color you are. If you are a criminal, you belong in jail. If you try to harm law enforcement officers, and if you try and harm law enforcement officers legitimately, then you should be harmed. But for law enforcement to go out here and ignore the obvious, this violent white subculture that has no respect for law, has no respect for order, yet you don't hear the president and nobody talking about this. Nobody's talking about. They want to focus on black crime in Chicago. That's what they want to focus on, black crime in Chicago. And while they doing this, focusing on black crime in Chicago, because most of the crime statistics they give, a lot of these racists, your racist people, your racist commentators, your Nick Fuentes and all these other people, and even your Charlie Kirks, they ignored all of this stuff. They ignored all of this. They ignored this violence going on amongst their own community. They ignored this. They don't say nothing to this day about it. Nothing. Black on black crime is more important, but black people are not shooting, black men are not shooting police officers. Black men are getting shot by police officers, killed by police officers, black women as well. But nobody says nothing. Nobody says nothing. Why? Because I said before that numbers amongst these Caucasians, a lot of them, they feel as though their numbers are dwindling. And these people who feel that their numbers are dwindling, they feel as though, time is running out for them. They are on an active, it just seems like they're on an active hunt to just take out whatever frustrations they got, whatever fear that they have of losing control. It just seems like that's being taken out on black men. In other words, black men are seen as a threat, not criminally, not negligently, not in any criminal fashion. You're seen as a threat genetically. So-called black men, so-called black people, the indigenous people, the real indigenous American people are seen as a threat. They are seen as a threat to the survival of the immigrant Caucasian people who have been occupying this country for over 200 years and in charge. They're still seen as a threat. So they don't care about losing some of their people. They don't care about sacrificing some of their people at the hands of these white lunatics out here who are taking the lives of law enforcement officers. It's sad and it's pathetic that when calls for getting tough on crime is talking about so-called black people, and it's not talking about white people and white criminals. I should say white. It's talking about black, so-called black people, because again, they like to criminalize all black people. But I'm being fair and saying not all white people, but they will criminalize all black people, even myself, because in their minds, genetically, just us living and being genetically is a crime. Our genetics is a crime because we have very dominant and strong genetics. So whenever they see our people, they see the enemy. They see the enemy when they see our people. They don't see men and women. They see the enemy. They see people who they feel are genetically imposing and will in some way, and this is my thoughts now. They think that in some way, shape, or form, these people are going to take over this country, so-called black people. The real Americans, the real American indigenous people who are being hidden under blackness and all this other nonsense, African Americanism, all them fake made up titles. They fear that because their numbers are dwindling, they have to then lash out at the people who they feel will inherit this kingdom, or should I say this queendom. They fear the ones who will inherit the queendom. They fear the so-called black men, who are where our birth rates and our numbers are pretty steady, and theirs is in decline. So they feel as though a lot of these police and law enforcement who are race soldiers, like Tariq Nasheed said, the race soldiers feel that their race is under attack in their convoluted, degenerate minds. They got a war on our people, and we don't even, a lot of our people are not aware of the racial war that's going on in their head, where these people pick up uniforms and put them on, and they go out here as race soldiers. They go out here looking to entrap black people, right? Looking to entrap black people, right? They go out here doing that. Now, there was a story, to be fair. There was a story in, I want to say Florida. This happened where so-called black man, right? They he was being tased. The police stopped him and tased him and whatnot. And a lady, white woman cop, I saw it on Taylor House. She said that first of all, she came up and she said he was riding on the side of the line, whatever, driving, and he explained it wasn't his mother's car. He apologized and whatnot. She said he was riding a little bit to the side, so she stopped him for that on the line. So she stopped him for this made up stuff, and then she asked to see his driver's license on. So he complied, gave all the stuff, and told him, he didn't argue, didn't fight with her, nothing, like, gave all the stuff. She was talking all cool with him. Now she sat here and talked to this guy for like minutes, collecting his ID, talking to him. Then she come back. I think she called her partner. And then she come back. Well, you're gonna have to get out the car. I smell weed. I smell weed. That's always the justification to put handcuffs on you. And try and run your record and whatnot and report you as an arrest, because you do realize when they arrest so-called black men, that goes down in the crime statistics as an arrest. They don't say that these black men who are arrested are exonerated. They are let go. The charges are dropped. It just goes in the stats as an arrest. They don't care about the fact that these people didn't do anything. They dropped the charges. A lot of times they just arrest black men just because they want, I'm talking about the law enforcement. They arrest black people because they feel black people are soft targets. They know black people 9 times out of 10 won't fight back. They feel like, oh, y'all don't stick together. Y'all ain't got no power. So we're going to do whatever we want. We don't like you anyway. So we're going to just go ahead and arrest you. We're going to go ahead and claim we smell weed or whatever the hell, because that's why I said, remember I said this before, I said the reason why in places like Florida and the Carolinas, Georgia, the reason why they won't legalize marijuana is because if you legalize marijuana, you ain't got no reason to stop black people no more. You can't do this I smell weed shit no more. They can't do the I smell weed thing, so I had to stop you. You see, they can't do that. Because the I stop weed is just an excuse. I smell weed is just an excuse to stop so-called black men and try to find something on them, and sometimes even plant stuff on them. So you get the damn arrest, right? So the arrest goes in the damn record. So you may exonerate the so-called black man or not. You'll exonerate him, but then it goes in the arrest records. Then this is how they justify getting funding for the police department, because they say, see, there's crime going on here. We have to have a police department. We need funds for our police department. That's how they do it, off of the backs of black men, off of the backs of black people. And meanwhile, while they're doing this, while they're, trying to build their resources off of the backs of black people, just like with the prison industrial complex, black men are constantly, so-called black men. And again, even that terminology of black men, American indigenous men, bronze men, American indigenous men, they are warehoused in these prisons and whatnot. Now, am I saying that I believe that all so-called black men are innocent of crimes? No. But far more are tried and go to court and all this other stuff. Charges are dropped, insufficient evidence, or the police just drop the charges, put you through the system, right, and then drop the damn charges just to say they got an arrest, so you get added to the statistic. You see, all right. A once to a day. Weed legal in Florida, a once a day. I don't understand what that means. But anyway, for the intelligent ones of our people, I want to get you to see what's going on around you. The intelligent ones of our people, right? Because the slow people, they're not going to get it, right? There was this guy. His page is called EDP. J Dion. I'll find out what his name is. But this guy goes around and he's a so-called black dude. He runs around and he goes and finds, catches a lot of these pedophiles out here, these children chasers and whatnot, these pedos out here, and he goes and sets them up and catches them. And he was going to a lot of white males and catching them in the act of pedophilia. Not in the act of, excuse me, let me rewind. He was going around, setting them up. They sending text messages and thinking they talking to young girls or young boys, all kind of degenerate behavior. So they sending all of this stuff, and he's like getting all this stuff down, and the pedophile and all this other stuff, right? And he gets he got the text message, he got all the proof that these guys he's catching up and whatnot are pedophiles. So when the police show up, he was in Florida, I think he was in the Carolinas, he would go to a place like that. When he shows up in these places, right, with his camera and his team, whatever, his little crew, the white police already looking at him like he's the criminal. They looking at him already. I could watch his video, but I don't know if he sees it. He tries to act like a black Caucasian. I call him Black Caucasian. This guy, Jay DeLon, I put a comment in this section one time. I said, this guy acts like a Black Caucasian. And he comes up here talking, trying to be, cool with the police officers and whatnot, and showing the text messages. And what I'm watching and him doing that is they not even really, they look listening to him, but you could tell they like, nigga, we really want to put the handcuffs on you. Just because. That's the energy they was giving. Like, why are you over here bothering these white people? That's the energy these white police was giving. Why are you over here? Forget the fact that he's doing a good job lining up and lining up a bunch of pedos. A bunch of pedos talking to young girls that can be your daughters. You see, or young boys that could be your sons. I got way more stuff I was going when I went through the Taylor House Publishing. Like, again, subscribe to that brother's channel and whatnot. He, like I said, he stays on top of this on the racial stuff. So, and even Tariq Nasheed, he covers some of these stories, but nobody covers like Taylor House, you know. And it's a few other guys out there. But like I said, I got the content because I got tired of looking at the content. I was like, damn, man. The law enforcement, they going out like that. They allowing these white boys to shoot them up and stab them up and run at them, and they taking them alive. They what you want to do? Take them to Burger King too? You see, let me tell you something. When people got upset about the George Floyd thing, because again, I'm not no supporter of the George Floyd thing. What I think people was upset about, because a lot of people was like, oh, black people on the side of George Floyd. No, they not. They was not on the side of George Floyd. So-called black people, indigenous people, the real indigenous people, we didn't, it wasn't about George Floyd. It was about the police actions, because everybody that watched that where this guy kneeled on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes, 6 minutes, however long he kneeled on the guy's neck, you're supposed to be law enforcement. You're supposed to be going by the book, by the law, putting the man in handcuffs, arrest him, taking him to jail. Not kneeling on his neck and doing all kind of crazy stuff like that. Again, that was just straight degeneracy. Straight degeneracy. And they get away with doing stuff like this. You know? Why? Because you don't like black people. You don't like the so-called black people. Right? That's why you get away with doing stuff like this. Because he wouldn't have kneeled on no white man's neck. You seeing how they treat white males and how they treat black males. You see it. And again, I don't care about black or white. Let me just, please understand this. I don't care about black or white. Why? Because I'm a bright man. I'm an intelligent man. And as an intelligent man, as a bright man, right, wrong, black, white, all immaterial. It's supposed to be about law and order. It's supposed to be about law and order. And when you put race above law and order, when you put race above law and order because you don't want to hurt a fellow white man, a white male like yourself, you don't want to hurt a fellow white male, which lets you know law enforcement are quick to protect them, you know, before anybody else. They're quick to handle them with kid gloves before anybody else. When it comes to us, like I said, you ain't got to do nothing. Depending on how they feel, they putting tight handcuffs on you. They coming to you with their guns out. You ain't even did nothing. This what we deal with. Now, I'm not gonna say we. I don't. You know. I don't. But I've been there. I've been there. You see, I'm from New York. I know how the police are. I know how they are. And again, I didn't do anything. We had times where police would come up on us, friends of mine, whatnot. We ain't doing nothing, just walk up on us, just trying to be an occupying force. Like what you see going on in Chicago, DC. They got, the president got all this money to let go of the National Guard to go to these places. Meanwhile, the law enforcement in this country is getting slaughtered by white males. And they're not saying anything. Nothing. It's like we more concerned than they are. We more concerned about the law enforcement in this country than they are. It's like they sacrificing these people. Even Charlie Kirk. Remember I said that Charlie Kirk was because he didn't want to stand up to the violent white subculture in this society, because he never wanted to mention that. It's the same violent white subculture that took him out of here, that took his life. But nobody wants to say that. He didn't say, we need to be a better people. We need to stop this white on white crime. We need to be a better people. We need God and Jesus in our lives. Since they love God and Jesus so much, why, if you supposedly are a Christian and you love God and Jesus so much, then that means you're supposed to call out all the degeneracy, all of the crime, all of what's making the country bad, not just, oh, it's these black people over here. You know, but you know why? Because again, it all links up and all lines up. Go back to criminalizing and demonizing so-called black people, which is why I told y'all we got to get rid of that black title. Our people, the intelligent ones of our people. I'm not even, again, so-called black people, the mass majority of y'all born black, you're going to die black mentally, because black is a mental thing. Black is a mental thing. It is not a physical description. You can see we got bronze, copper colored skin. Black has become a mental state of mind for a lot of our people. And what do I mean by that? These people got you living in the illusion. They got you out here delusional, thinking that there's a such thing as a so-called black race of people. There's no such thing as black people. There's the indigenous people, the copper-colored races, the real American indigenous people, us. And then there's them. There's the people who are deemed white, your immigrants, right, who have always had a hatred for the indigenous people, the real indigenous people, not the people who call themselves Native Americans today. Because, listen, this country don't hate them. That's why the government recognized them as the 5 civilized tribes. Well, what happened to all other so-called uncivilized tribes? If you're saying that there's only 5 civilized tribes, what happened to the other ones? What happened to all the other tribes that y'all don't mention? Because you said you was only going to recognize 5 civilized tribes. What happened to all the other ones? They wandered around out here in America being called black people. That's what happened to them. They wandering around out here in America being called African American. That's what happened to them. You see, that's what happened to the people the government deemed as uncivilized. The people who ended up being made slaves, the people who was forced into bondage, and the government backed it up. The same government that exists today was okay with black people being in slavery. Our people, the indigenous people, the real indigenous people. And I keep telling y'all that the only reason why we are hated in this country, and I keep telling you, is because we the real indigenous people. And the people at the top, from the White House to the state, all of them, they know black Americans are the real American Indians. They know that. And that's what the beef is. You're always going to have, because again, they don't have no beef with the so-called Native Americans. This country has no beef. In fact, they give them money. They give them money every year. They got their own reservations, you see, and they give them money every year. And they're not even indigenous to America. Those are your first. Well, no, I ain't even gonna say it's your first. Well, in South and Central America, those are your first natives. Your natives, meaning the people that came from elsewhere, from Siberia, that came from China and all these other places. They came into America through the Asian slave trade that was conducted by the Caucasian or the Euro-Spanish. That's where they came from. And they adopted the ways of the American indigenous people, us. That's the real history. Now, they can sit up here and fight because, like I said, they was going back and forth with me on the video I made about calling me an African and all that. I don't care. I don't care, because these people are simple-minded and they don't want to hear the truth. They can't handle the truth. They think we just sitting up here saying we are indigenous Americans and because we want to copy your culture. I don't even know what your culture is. We don't even know what your culture is, because again, and I don't mean to segue into the whole indigenous thing, but I'm just showing you how all this fits together. Because a lot of Mexicans who call themselves Native Americans, who claim to be Native Americans, I've been seeing a lot of them on the police force shooting black people. In fact, the one in Philly, I think it was in New Jersey, a Latino officer shot a black woman, killed her, because she had a knife in her hand and she was having an episode. It's an old 60-something-year-old, 69, 60, almost 70-year-old black woman, just killed her because she had a knife in her hand. She was having an episode. They could have took that it was like 4 or 5 of them. They couldn't have took the knife from her. But yet they done took white males alive, because obviously this must be coming from the top. They instructed to take white males alive. They instructed to take them alive when they do some crazy stuff. Try to take them alive. But if you got to do what you got to do, but try and take them alive. And they obviously, and when I say this has to be a pattern, because you keep seeing this. They shooting the police. These violent white males are shooting the police, and then they turn around. Then they turn around and they taking them in handcuffs. Like they not getting shot down. They're getting taken in handcuffs. Now, I'm not saying, oh, I want black people to be able to do the same thing and shoot the police and get taken in. No, I said if you're shooting at the police, you should be shot. I don't care what race you are. If you shooting the police and whatnot, like if they come to serve warrants and things like you shooting them, you gotta have people. These people falsify police. The police falsify records to go inside black people's house to shoot them, attack them. You see, and it's like it's coming back. It's almost like it's circling back around to you people and law enforcement. It's circling back around because you sat here and you're making a mockery of law enforcement. You're making a mockery. Law enforcement is supposed to be enforced on all the people equally, or should I say evenly? I don't like to use the word equally, evenly. But you know what? It's like anything, just like in law enforcement, if they in law enforcement, they don't really want to arrest white males. They don't really want to arrest white males. They don't. Like when I go back to that guy, Jay Delon, or whatever his name is, I'll get his name, but when he was going around and busting these pedos who sending their private part pictures of their private parts to underage children, these white pedos, these white male pedos, they was up here like the police was really like I could tell they was like, and one guy they put in the police car and took him away, and then they let him go a block down, and they only did it because the cameras was on. They would if it was no cameras, they would have told the dude, yo, pack your stuff up and leave these people alone. But because the camera was on, that's why they had to arrest the guy. And then they went and took him because in one case he was talking about, yeah, they let this guy go. I can't believe it. The DA didn't want to press charge. Oh, you surprised? You surprised? A straight up pedophile they got all his evidence on him, all the pictures he sent, they let him go. And one of the guys was homeless. They gave the city gave him a money for an apartment. No charges. But we're supposed to trust law enforcement, right? We're supposed to trust law enforcement because obviously they got double standards. And obviously that's written into their protocol to have double standards for the Caucasian people. And everybody else, you could do whatever you want to the so-called black people because they don't matter. And again, why I said this with the black thing. It's almost like you're erasing yourselves. We are, black people, so-called black people are erasing themselves by continuing to be in alignment, with the whole black thing, constantly existing as the evil, trying to exist, or they're seeing you as the evil opponent of white. You're being seen as the evil opponent of white. Why are we still calling it white? Well, not we, I don't. But why are our people who are lost? Why are you still calling yourself black people? Why are you still connecting with black? Because they demonize black. Black is demonized. Okay, from the time they started calling us black people, it was meant to demonize our people. Like I said, they're the ones that started calling us black people. We didn't say we was black. They started calling us black people as a way to demonize us. Now they done flipped it on some mental psyop thing to get y'all to be proud of being black. They got you proud of being black. They flipped some mental psyop on y'all, like when they used James Brown, black ass. Yeah, I said James Brown, black ass, to come out here talking and say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. That was a program. That was a program on our people in the 60s, because prior to that time, we didn't refer to ourselves as black. They kept trying to force black on. I'm talking about the government and all of them kept trying to force black on us. That's why some of the first movies they made, they couldn't wait to start doing the black face and trying to, make that seem like that's supposed to offend us, even though I said I don't understand why our people are offended by blackface. We're not black people. Our skin is not black. We got bronze, copper-colored skin. Why are you still offended by blackface? They don't look like nothing like us. All they just look like is a bunch of idiots putting black shoe polish on their face and looking stupid. What the hell that got to do with us? You know what it has to do with us? Because y'all keep with this black people shit. Y'all still with this black people nonsense. In 2025, going into 2026, y'all still with this black people bull crap. And so you're really villain. You being conned into mentally conned into villainizing yourself, making yourself seem like villains. Now, if we stood up as American indigenous people, we said we just American. We don't want to be associated with black and nothing else. We just American, because the so-called white man, they'll say they white Americans, or they'll just say they American. They don't associate with white and all that, and they're not even American. But we got to be black Americans. We got to be African Americans. Like as if somebody brought us here, or that we came. And now they trying to rewrite history that we were indentured servants, and they making up terms like forced immigration. There was no immigration. And where's this as forced immigration? You know what the forced immigration was? See, they always trying to push their history on us. You know what the forced immigration was? The forced immigration was when the Europeans, when the English was pushing all the criminals out of England. That's how a lot of white people got into America. They was pushing a lot of the criminals out of England. They was emptying out the jails, and they was using America. I'm talking about England was using America, at the time as a prison colony. They would use America as a prison colony. They would send their worst degenerates over here, empty out the jails, because the jails was full of them, full of a bunch of degenerates. They would let them out, and they would send them over here into America. That was like supposed to be a a punishment, because you being sent to some place you don't know what's going on. But when they got here, they started doing what they do: stealing, lying, robbing, thieving, raping and robbing and stealing and doing all the degenerate stuff, yet claiming that they came into America as immigrants to do all this, that, and the third. No, they ever since they came into America, they did nothing but wreak havoc on the indigenous people. And by the indigenous people, we mean so-called black people. They call us black people to hide our identity, to erase our identity. You see, they call us that, to erase our identity. And now we sitting up here still erasing our own identity in 2025. Y'all sitting up here arguing like these pro-blacks and pan-Africans still sitting up here arguing about, we come over here on African slave ships, or was we already indigenous? Why y'all having this conversation? Why are you having this conversation? You people, you pro-blacks and you pan-Africanists, y'all don't care about Africa. You don't care about none of that stuff. All you care about is living in America and surviving day to day. So you might as well go ahead and be American anyway. I'm talking about the indigenous people. I'm not talking about the African immigrants who came here and now calling themselves, because those are the African Americans. Those would be the people you're describing as the people who immigrated into America. We didn't immigrate into no America. We was always here, always in America. And like I said, I'm not going back and forth with these with the Native Americans no more, because again, they sitting up here trolling on my pages on TikTok. They trolling and whatnot and playing, and just saying all kind of stupid of Weibos and Wabos and all this nonsense, making up stuff. Meanwhile, they're sitting up here. They ain't embracing none of that culture. They ain't really embracing that, other than going to a few festivals and dancing around with some feathers on their head. They think that's culture. No, we put culture in America. Our music that people try to claim, our jazz, our R&B, our soul, all music comes from us. The good music. You see, all the real good music comes from us. Yet we supposed to be African. They say our music is American, but we African American, right? Our music could be American because they want to steal our music. So they don't want to say, we stealing African American music. But our music, they say blues is American born music. Yes, it is. Created by the real Americans. The people who have been loyal to this country. We've been nothing but loyal. We didn't tear up this country. We're not out here shooting law enforcement officers and whatnot. Even when so-called black men are getting abused and beaten and shot and whatnot, women being shot, they not flipping out on the law enforcement. It's the people that you protecting it all. Your white brethren flipping out on you. It's your white brethren flipping out on you. It's your white brethren who's shooting 5 and 6 of y'all, butchering y'all, stabbing y'all, doing all kind of stuff, and y'all taking them alive. How messed up is that? I was going to say how effed up is that, but I'm going to keep my language a little clean. I just had to talk on this because it's crazy how nobody's outraged by this. Because you always hear these people, these people like your Nick Fuentes and all these other people talking about black on black crime and black people are the worst and black people is that. But why are they silent about this? Why are they silent about this? Why is Nick Fuentes and all them other people not talking about all these recent shootings? Now, all these shootings I mentioned happened within a month's time. They happened within a month's time. And more are coming. More are coming. I already feel that. And it's going to be from your own brethren. It's going to be from your own brethren who you, after people like Dylan Roof go and shoot up a goddamn church and kill a bunch of old black people, then you take them to McDonald's. You see? You take, probably ain't had no handcuffs on. You probably say, good job. A bunch of old defenseless black people in the church who ain't bothering nobody. They get slaughtered by Dylan Roof. And he's still on death row, ain't he? They ain't putting him to death. I'll be back. Watch. He'll sit on death row for a while until people like thinking about it no more. And then he'll just get a regular sentence. And listen, he's gonna get a regular sentence. He'll get 25 to life and he'll be out in his 40s. And nobody will remember Dylan Roof. He'd probably get another name, go someplace else, and they'll be like, what happened to Dylan Roof? Oh, he's still in jail. Right. Like Harvey Weinstein in jail. Right. Jail is only for black people. Jail is only for black. They got a lot of white people in jail, a lot of white males in jail. But listen, if they arrest white males, they got to be the most dangerous motherfuckers in jail. They got to be the most dangerous in order to arrest them. You see, in order to put them in jail, they got to be so much of a menace to society, they got to arrest them. You see, that's why you got all those gangs in jail and white gangs and whatnot, those white racist gangs in jail, because they're deemed as the worst of the worst. That's why they'll take them off the street. They got to. But whereas with so-called black men, you breathe hard, you sneeze hard, they looking at you. You breathe and sneeze hard, they looking at you. You see? And you ain't did nothing. So yeah, there's definitely a disparity. Oh yeah, and like I said, that guy who's going out, I hope that brother be careful. The guy who's going out here picking up these white pedophiles and whatnot, because like I said, it don't seem like they care whether you doing which you are doing a very good service. You doing their job. You doing a lot of their job. You're helping them, but again, it's working against you because these people don't care about law and order. They care about white and black. They care about black and white. They don't care about law and order. They care about black and white. In their mind, you niggas are the criminals. You niggas, you commit 50% of the crime. You only 14% of the population. You know all that bullshit they make up? But they don't talk about how the mass majority of white males, over 50%, statistically, and statistics, 50-something percent, over 50% of the pedophilia and crimes of white men. 50%, over 50%, about 50-something percent. You can check that out. That's the stats from the government or whoever, when these pure groups. Again, that stat is out there. You got white males out here who lead in pedophilia. Am I saying all? No. But it ain't black males doing that. But we get demonized. There was this guy in Utah, this white reverend or minister, where he couldn't help start talking about black people or they're degenerate people. He just come out of nowhere. He all the way in damn Utah, full of white people. When Charlie Kirk got shot, he didn't see that. Oh, it's just these black people that's the problem. But they could join your church. He said, you could join my church, but you can't come. Who the fuck want to join your church? Excuse my language. Or you got some Sambos who sit up here and beg to join the church. But there ain't no black people in Utah like that. You know, come on, man. Come on. It's like when these white people talk about, yeah, this is an all-white town. Yeah, but nobody want to go to that town where y'all like that. Ain't nobody rushing to act like, yeah, it's an all-white town. So it's always been a bunch of all-white towns. I've been upstate New York. I've seen a whole bunch of all-white towns. They're like shit. All right? I'm just saying. And like I said, yeah, hood places really look like crap too. Just to be fair. But this whole thing, again, these people don't see law and order. And you know what? They suffering for it. They're suffering for it because they're not going to walk up to no white man with their gun out. They're not walking up to no white males with their guns drawn. right? They not walking up to them. They could walk up trying to talk to them and whatnot. I remember there was this one video where the guy, he was up here cursing the police out, talking crazy to them and whatnot. And they was trying to talk nice to him. I'm watching the video. I'm like, what the? They talking nice and big white boy and whatnot. He crashed out. He killed a bunch of them. But they ended up killing him because, he was just, they was going back and forth. But he killed them first. He called them up just to ambush them. You see? But what about black on black crime? Most of the crime they talk about black on black. Again, I'm not sticking up for black people. I'm just saying everybody commits crime. But don't try to make it seem like so-called black men are committing crimes at an alarming rate. Bullshit. Bull. BS. Why? Because every time we seeing stories like this, then this is only in a month's time. Can you imagine what, in a year's time from now? And you know what? It's all due to you all and how you mismanage your positions in law enforcement, how you have basically desecrated the badge. Y'all act like really more like slave catchers than you act like damn law enforcement, to be honest with you. Because y'all see black men as the slaves. Y'all still got a lot of that depraved mindset where you see black people as the slaves and y'all as the slave catchers. So you ignore white men. You ignore white males, I should say. You ignore them and their degeneracy. And it's costing you your lives. That's my take on it. That's all I got. So I'm going to be doing TikTok tomorrow live. I was going to do it at 4 today, just like I was supposed to be at 6, but I'm tired, man. I got to do my show tonight. I got to do my other cast, and I'll be tired sometimes. I got other things I'm doing, recordings. I'm doing a lot of stuff. So forgive me for being a little late, and forgive me for the not being up on TikTok. I hope some of my TikTok people came over to. We get a lot of reception on TikTok. And let me tell you something. I only been on TikTok for like 2.5 months posting stuff, and I got easily over 1,000+ followers and growing. And I'm like, that just shows that YouTube was gatekeeping my videos, and they still gatekeep my videos. They gatekeep. They don't let people see. Y'all, a lot of y'all probably ain't got no notifications or nothing. You probably haven't, and I'm not surprised because I'm raw and uncut. I'm real. I'm raw and uncut and real. Shout out to the brothers out there and the sisters who raw and uncut and real who doing this. But I take it to a whole nother level. You see, I don't want to be all glitzy and glossy. And when I just take it all to a whole nother level and just be real with it, everything, and go deeper into it. That's my forte. But that's it. So I'm gonna close this out, and I'm not trusting, and I'm not thinking, and I'm gonna close out this message. Can you all? I would like you all who are listening, please go down below and hit the link. Check out the links down below. Hit the link because we're doing the American Indigenous Street Music Festival in May 2026, part two. We're going to do it bigger and better. The American Indigenous Street Music Festival 2026 coming to Atlanta. So come check that out. All right. Hit the, those you want to come and participate, and even then you can get contact C Manhattan, my assistant C Manhattan. Please contact her. Her information is in the link below. If you want to donate, please donate to the American Indigenous Street Music Festival. I don't care if it's $20, $30, $40. We're gonna start openly and actively looking to raise at least $24,000. $24,000. That's the goal. We raised $15,000 before. We're looking to raise $24,000 this time. And I'm going to appeal to my people on TikTok and everything else to throw in $20. Throw in this, and let's have a festival to celebrate our American Indigenous heritage. Because this is our American Indigenous heritage, the embracing of that and letting Black go, letting African American go. The embracing of our American Indigenous heritage is supposed to be a form of purification, because now we really know who we are. Don't listen to these people who sitting up here, the naysayers, the Pan-Africans, the natives, the racist natives, the goofy, simple-minded Pan-Africans. Don't listen to those people. We know who we are, and we're going to celebrate who we are. We're going to continue to celebrate who we are as the real American Indigenous people of this land, the real Americans. And again, that's not no disrespect to the natives. That's not no disrespect to the white Americans and the people who came, but y'all came after us. Y'all came, and we didn't even come. We was always in America. We was always here. So again, we celebrating and bringing patriotism forward in our people and the men. We need to stand up in that way. So in a real way. Yeah, so check out C Manhattan. She's you know, if you want to become registered members of the Republic of America, go down below and hit the link and become a registered American. Because again, we are American by nationality, and we need to start standing up as Americans by nationality, indigenous Americans. So, just American. Again, become a registered American in the Republic of America so that we can live out and be the best Americans we can be. Cleaning up all the black nonsense, cleaning up all the African American nonsense, because that's what messed us up out here. Also, you can go to ROA Apparel and purchase a shirt from our ROA Apparel. You like the American Indigenous shirt I wear sometime, you could purchase that. The Supreme American tees, you could purchase that. Also, Draconian Rule is associated with, with Supreme American TV, one of our sponsors. So go and check out draconianrules.com. Check out ROA Apparel, which again is at the link. What else? I think I could. Check out American Indigenous channel. Our sister Inra Vanzetta Mentangela. Check out her American Indigenous channel. She gives a lot of information on them. Go check out. You see what she put up lately, and that's it. I'll be doing my live tonight, but like I said, I'll be on TikTok tomorrow at 4. I will be on at 4. And if something should change, because I got babies, if something should change, I'll let you know ahead of time. But that's it. Again, let me end this out. What am I closing out with? What y'all want to hear? No, I want to close out with. All right.
star.